Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much, guys, for your greatest support. Now, fellow Kenyans, we are just counting hours now to the by-election that a lot of people are waiting for in OLKALOU. Of course, it has been a very busy campaign, both by the UDA and the DCP candidates, and also PM candidate. But the most powerful one has been between UDA and DCP. And I've been asking, or I've been trying to look at this thing and asking myself that why is it that UDA and DCP have been having that cohesion of campaign between the two parties. But and again I realized that everybody wants to prove a point. It is a place where kila mtu anataka ku prove a point. Rigathi Gachagua anataka kuambia William Ruto ya kwamba ulinifukuza lakini watu wa Mlima Kenya hawakutaki. And at the same time, William Ruto also wants to prove to Rigathi Gachagua ya kwamba hata kama nilikufukuza na unasema kwamba watu hawanitaki, bado napendwa na watu. That is why you see DCP sent Methu. UDA sent Kimani Chungwa, all those people, Oscar Sudi, but now the other people were sent with money. Hawa watu wengine hawakuwa na pesa. So the DCP were just doing natural campaign, pure campaign without giving money. And I think that is where now wanaweza walishindia watu. Because these people wanaleta vitu za serikali. Unatoa mattress ya hospitali unaletea wananchi. Pesa 3,000 kila mmoja mwenye ameingia, hizo pesa zote zinatoka wapi? Mnapeana gas, all those things that you are issuing or that you are giving, where did they come from? So those are the kind of questions that people have been asking. Where did you get these things from? Where did these things come from? Those are the kind of questions. Now, today IEBC, 3 bodies have met. IEBC have met NPS, that is the Kenya Police Service, the National Police Service, and also the NCIC. These 3 bodies are the ones that are going to be in OLKALOU tomorrow to supervise by election. And I've heard IG Douglas Kanja say that they have deployed over 1,000 police officers to provide security during OLKALOU's by-election, and they've also deployed 4 water cannons.
So we are here today to give the nation updates on the upcoming elections in OLKALOU. As you all know, elections in OLKALOU will be held on the 16th of July 2026. And it is therefore in that regard that we have come together here with all these institutions that play one role or another to give you updates on what is it that we have done in order to ensure that the elections in OLKALOU proceed as scheduled, and that we give the people of OLKALOU the opportunity to exercise their democratic right to elect their member of parliament on Thursday, 16th, 2026. The Commission therefore wishes to inform the nation that all preparations for the by-election scheduled for Thursday, the 16th of July, 2026, to fill the position of Member of National Assembly for OLKALOU constituency in Nyandarua County are progressing as scheduled. So far, several critical milestones have already been achieved, and these include the completion of procurement and delivery of election materials, both critical and non-critical, to OLKALOU, gazettement of all the candidates that have been cleared to run for these elections for Member of Parliament in OLKALOU, the setting up of polling stations and the tallying centers where the electors will cast their votes and be counted. We have also completed the servicing and testing and configuration of our technology. As you know, Electoral Commission of Kenya, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, uses technology for both voter identification and, of course, result transmission in the case for presidential elections. So we have reconfigured our technology and it's ready for deployment. We have also received the ballot boxes, the ballot papers for this by-election, which have already been dispatched to our warehouses in Nyandarua County. Yesterday, we completed the training of all the election officials. So our officers are properly trained and they are ready to conduct elections as per the regulations. Of more importance is the issue of the voters register. We have certified the register that will be used in OLKALOU. That is the voters register. And this register is currently displayed at every polling station so that the citizens of OLKALOU can verify and check if their names are there and if they are eligible to vote in the respective polling stations. As a commission, we continue working with our partners to offer voter education to the voters of OLKALOU so that they understand how to exercise their rights. And we continue with stakeholder engagement up to tomorrow, where our team of commissioners will also be in OLKALOU to meet with stakeholders, to meet with the candidates and their agents so that we agree on the final rules.
As the Inspector General of the National Police Service, mine is a message of reassurance and an affirmation that the people of OLKALOU are expected to exercise their democratic rights in a free, fair, peaceful, secure, and credible manner, as guided by our Constitution and the laws of the land. May I now briefly speak specifically about the security preparedness for this by-election. Firstly, we have over 1,000 police officers deployed to ensure that the by-election is adequately covered. Number two, to break it down further, the 114 polling stations in OLKALOU have adequately deployed with police officers going by the standard deployment procedures. This means that we have a minimum of 2 police officers per every polling station. Their work shall be to safeguard the voting materials, the voting process itself, while offering adequate security at each and every polling station, ensuring the electoral officials perform their duties well and unhindered. Additionally, there are alert standby teams deployed at all polling stations. They comprise of not less than 14 officers at each and every polling station to ensure steadfast and robust security coverage. Further to this, there are specialized teams that have been deployed to give an overall and unbreachable security ring as follows. I have deployed 4 platoons of the General Service Unit officers. I have deployed 4 platoons of anti-stock theft unit officers. I've also deployed 4 water cannons. Sufficient deployment from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, whose mandate shall focus on intelligence gathering, investigations, arrest, and prosecution of any party or individual or individuals involved in any electoral malpractice. Finally, I reiterate that the National Police Service shall remain steadfast during the by-election process, ensuring that a guaranteed safety, security exercise is carried out where the people of OLKALOU have a chance to exercise their democratic rights in the best way possible and in an environment of peace and security.
Kwani hizi vitu zote ni za nini? Kama mnajua vizuri kwamba there is going to be a peaceful election in OLKALOU, 4 water cannons zote ni za 1,000 police officers ni za nini? Ni wa nini? Why is it that the government fears so much to a point that now they're deciding to threaten people that are just going to do their own wanaenda kufanya election pole pole tu na waende nyumbani?
Fellow Kenyans, I speak to you today with a sense of urgency. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, has with growing concern been monitoring a disturbing escalation in political rhetoric characterized by ethnic profiling, inflammatory utterances, incitement, and language that demeans, threatens, and dehumanizes fellow Kenyans on account of their ethnicity, political affiliation, or region. These developments, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, threaten to undo the hard-won peace and unity that Kenyans have painstakingly built over time. As the country moves into an increasingly charged political season, the Commission notes with alarm the disruption of political and public gatherings, attacks on citizens and leaders on account of divergent opinion, and the deliberate use of coded and overt language intended to stir up ethnic hostility. Left unaddressed, such conduct carries the real risk of igniting violence, displacement, and loss of life, as this nation has painfully experienced before. This is not normal politics. It is conduct that the law calls hate speech and ethnic contempt, and it carries real criminal consequences, including fines of up to 1 million shillings and jail terms of up to 5 years. The Commission is watching, and where the law is broken, we will act without fear or favor, regardless of who is involved. Kenya's diversity is a source of strength, not division. The Commission appeals to our leaders at every level and every sector. Your words carry weight. Use them to unite, not to divide. No cause, no campaign is worth a Kenyan's blood. We appeal to every Kenyan to refuse to be incited into division, reject politics of hatred and rhetoric of contempt, and embrace dialogue, tolerance, and coexistence as a foundation of our shared future. Do not let anyone use you to attack your neighbor because of their community or their politics. It is incumbent, therefore, upon each one of us, fellow Kenyans, to actively promote peace within our spheres of influence.
I've had chairman of IBC also speaking, and kwake ni kama huyu jamaa alikuwa anatamani sana hii mambo ya irishu, kwa sababu jinsi ambavyo anazungumza it's kind of different. This one tells you a lot about their stand, or what they wanted, or what they were expecting. Maybe what they were expecting versus what they're seeing, they're two different things. According to them, it's like it's not working. You know, wako hapo katikati. This thing is not working. You know, we wish now we were supposed to postpone it, but now we can't do that because everybody is expecting this by-election. And I'm saying this again, that this by-election that is happening in OLKALOU is going to be a determinant. I don't know how it's going to determine, but is it going to be a determinant between UDA and DCP? Because according to Rigathi Gachagua, he believes that he's going to show William Ruto pepe, that is going to show William Ruto dust. And William Ruto, on the other hand, is also preparing to show Rigathi Gachagua what he is made of. So unaona hizo vitu mbili, hao watu wawili ni watu ambao wako tofauti sana. Kuna mmoja ambaye ako na kiburi, mwingine pia ako na tamaa. So it's a do or die thing. It is a do or die thing. Anyway, I would like you to listen to this press briefing watch it, and then after watching it, you'll also tell me what comes into your mind. Do you really think that there is it is necessary for the government to deploy 1,000 police officers and also 4 water cannons in just a by-election that is supposed to happen in OLKALOU? And why is it that these people are putting a lot of pressure, are putting a lot of concentrating too much on this issue in OLKALOU? What is the government's fear?
Had taken a picture of their ballot paper after voting. They took pictures of the marked ballots and circulated it on the internet. We wish to remind Kenyans and indeed the voters of OLKALOU that please do not take a picture of your ballot paper once you mark it, once you select the person you want to be your member of parliament. This is because the sanctity and the secrecy of the vote requires that you keep it secret. That's why it's very, very important that we facilitate you to vote by way of secret ballot. So it will defeat the purpose if you again make that ballot public, and it is against Section 7 of the Election Offences Act. You shall actually be prosecuted, and if you are found guilty, you will pay a fine a fine of up to 1 million Kenya shillings. So we need to tell Kenyans this matter is very serious. Besides that 1 million Kenya shillings, the offending party can also be imprisoned for a term of not exceeding 3 years for a simple act of taking a picture of your vote, either to show allegiance to whoever you are voting for or for some other benefit. I don't know what motivates people to expose who they voted for. So that is discouraged, it is prohibited, it's against the law, and it has consequences. In terms of assisted voters, you know, in some instances, we have those voters who for one reason or another are not able to go through the voting process, and they require special assistance, be they people with disability or some form of illiteracy. The law allows that those voters can be assisted by a person of their choice. So nobody should force anybody to be assisted. If they wish to be assisted and our officials have verified that the person requires assistance, let that person choose a person of his or her choice to assist that person. We also wish to inform members of the public and the voting populations of OLKALOU that no one person is allowed to assist more than one voter. We will not see a situation where one person is hovering around the polling stations and purporting to be assisting one voter after another, It is only one person to assist one voter, end of story. So again, that is something that we wish to communicate to the people of OLKALOU to be on the lookout. In terms of accreditation of agents and and the conduct of anybody within the polling stations, and indeed our constituency tallying center, each participating political party or candidate is entitled to appoint one agent at each polling station and one chief agent at the tallying center. And I repeat again, each candidate or political party is allowed to appoint only one agent at each polling station and one chief agent at the tallying center. The tallying center will be at the constituency headquarters. And therefore, we shall not allow anybody roaming around our polling stations purporting to be agents if they are not appointed by the political parties or the candidates themselves, and they must be one. And our office gives them accreditation badges. So anybody who does not possess an accreditation badge should not be seen roaming around our polling stations. The police, the security will take action, and our officials will take action So, in that regard, in the last by-elections we conducted in the country, in Mbere, Malava, Kasipul, Unguja, Magarini, the commission observed a phenomenon that is very much disturbing. There are some Kenyans, whether politicians or non-politicians, who purport to behave like super agents, and therefore they come to our polling stations and try to disturb the peace or the peaceful conduct of the elections in those stations. We want to state categorically here that we will not allow anybody, whether it's a senior politician or a leader in this country, who has not been cleared and accredited by IBC, to come with their security or their supporters to try and disturb the peace at the polling station or even overrun the polling station. We have asked the National Police Service and all security agencies to help us to deal with this phenomenon of super agents, who are mainly some of the senior politicians in this country. So we will not like to see that happening in OLKALOU, and should it happen, we will take decisive action against those individuals. We also wish to remind that the public and members of the various political parties and supporters of the respective candidates that we shall not admit any person who is wearing a badge, clothing or symbol or any other item signifying support for a political party or candidate. The campaigns, as we have said, the campaign period ended yesterday at 6 p.m. So we do not expect campaigns at our polling stations when citizens are supposed to show up in a neutral environment to vote, cast their vote, and go home peacefully and wait for the results. So anybody who is seen in party colors or paraphernalia should be sent away from our polling stations, which should remain neutral from 6 up to 5 when we close. We also remind the voters that once you cast your vote, please exit the polling station immediately, and to allow other voters who are queuing the opportunity to also exercise their right to cast their vote and elect their leaders. So once you vote, please go home. Go to your comfort of your home or your farm or your shop and wait for the process to complete at 5. Once we close, the counting will begin in front of all the accredited agents and the candidates themselves. So the order at the polling station, the commission wishes to remind all stakeholders of the following legal provisions regarding the order at the polling stations. The presiding officer is responsible for conducting the elections at the polling station and maintaining law and order at the polling station throughout the process. And in doing so, especially for security, the presiding officer at that particular polling station is assigned 2 police officers who will be responsible for a radius of about 400 square meters, which is the jurisdiction within which we conduct the elections. And therefore, the police officers assigned to the presiding officer maintain law and order. And therefore, we urge the voters in OLKALOU to ensure that they respect our polling stations, they respect our officers, and that they follow their instructions on how to conduct themselves while they are within the polling stations. And therefore, within the polling station, anybody who is engaging in disorderly conduct or fails to comply with lawful instructions of the presiding officer will be ordered to leave the precinct, and necessary actions will be taken to discourage such kind of conduct. We have, in each of the polling stations, we have put the rules there on display. So we urge the citizens and the voters of OLKALOU to read, to familiarize themselves with those rules, and make sure they adhere with those rules. So the presiding officer is in charge and will take any necessary lawful action to secure the polling station and to ensure voting proceeds peacefully and uninterrupted and until it's closed. So those people who sometimes are inclined to try and storm any polling station, just be warned that action will be taken, because we'll have adequate security protecting every polling station and allowing citizens to come and cast their vote peacefully without any disturbance. In terms of security arrangements, you can see the IG is here with his 2 deputies. We have the DCI. They will speak more about the security arrangements for this, to secure the elections, to ensure that there is peace, there is tranquility, and the voters of OLKALOU exercise their rights peacefully to elect their leaders. So, as a commission, I would like to thank the close collaboration we've had with the National Police, with other commissions present here, including National Cohesion and Integration Commission, to ensure that we make all the necessary arrangements, including security, so that the by-election in OLKALOU succeeds. So I'll allow IG later on to speak on the security arrangements in place. But we, as a commission, would also like to note that with concern that there have been incidences that have raised a red flag and concerns to us as a commission as we carry out our mandate to facilitate Kenyans to elect their elected representatives. We've seen situations where in some cases goons are present in our electoral areas, are mobilized to intimidate and to disrupt the peaceful campaigns and the peaceful business of the people in those affected electoral areas. OLKALOU has not been spared either. There are those reports of incidences of goons roaming around, and of course facilitated by some of the actors or players. We wish to call upon all those people, political parties, the candidates themselves and their political supporters, to refrain from any acts that will constitute violence and breach of the electoral code of conduct. Because we want this election in OLKALOU to be the most peaceful and the most successful, that is conducted in an atmosphere that will allow a credible, free, fair, and transparent elections to happen in OLKALOU. The code of conduct, ladies and gentlemen, will continue to be enforced. As you have seen, in the last few days, we have summoned some of those politicians who have been accused of engaging in some electoral malpractices. We have taken action on some of them, including fining some of them and requesting them to again sign the political decency code with us. Other cases are ongoing, and we will be updating the nation on what actions we are taking. So the Election Code of Conduct Committee is still in place. It will work until after the election has been concluded and the results announced. So any breaches of the Electoral Code of Conduct, we urge the public to report to the Commission so that we take firm and stern action against those perpetrators. So, as I conclude, in terms of results management and declaration, after the close of the polling stations at 5 p.m., all the presiding officers will commence the process of counting the vote in front and in full view of agents, observers, and the media. I believe you'll be there as members of the fourth estate to observe what's happening and to report. This counting will be done. The ballot boxes will be opened, the ballot papers will be counted, and the results tabulated at each of the polling stations in an open and transparent process. And to enhance transparency, the agents present will be allowed to take photographs of official result form 34A. Let us distinguish what I said before. Your ballot paper, the one you mark as a voter, that is sacred. and it's secret. I've said secret, and it's also secret. So that is the document that we do not want anybody to take pictures of and circulate. But where we tabulate and record the results, that is from 34A, agents can take pictures and send to their candidates or their political parties. A copy of the results form, that same from 34A, a carbonated copy, will also be pasted at each of the polling stations. Whether it's in a classroom, it will be pasted on the door of that classroom for everybody to see, because there's nothing we're hiding. It will be as transparent as that. Returning officers will thereafter receive the results, that is at the constituency tallying center. They will verify, collate, and announce the constituency level results. So I know results will be known mostly by the party agents and the political parties. But please do not declare yourself the winner or your candidate. It is only the authorized officer, in this case for OLKALOU, the returning officer, who will declare the winner in the presence of agents and accredited observers. So as I conclude, in fact, on the issue of the results, members of the public and the media as well, you can access the results in our public portal, which will be accessible to the public. You will click as we upload the results online. You can be able to follow the results and tabulate for yourself, so that you know that what we are doing is a transparent, accountable, free and fair election that will meet the highest standards of credibility. A call to action as I conclude. The Commission calls upon all polling officials in OLKALOU to discharge their duties with integrity, impartiality and full adherence to the Code of Conduct. And we are also telling you that we do not spare our officers who engage in any misconduct, who commit any election offense. Such officers will be arrested, investigated and prosecuted. So the law is very clear even to ourselves as officials that conduct these elections. Further, we urge all stakeholders, including political parties, candidates, agents, the media and respective voters, to respect the law, uphold peace before, during and after the polling, and refrain from any actions that may compromise the secrecy or integrity of the vote. So ladies and gentlemen, those are my remarks and a briefing to the nation and particularly to the people of OLKALOU. And I thank you for this. Thank you, Chair. I just go straight to the message that we have from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. We held on the 16th of July 20, that we give the people of OLKALOU the opportunity to exercise their democratic right to elect their Member of Parliament on Thursday, 16th, 2026. The Commission therefore wishes to inform the nation that all preparations for the by-election scheduled for Thursday, the 16th of July, 2026, to fill the position of Member of National Assembly for OLKALOU constituency in Nyandarua County are progressing as scheduled. So far, several critical milestones have already been achieved, and these include the completion of procurement and delivery of election materials, both critical and non-critical, to OLKALOU, gazettement of all the candidates that have been cleared to run for these elections for Member of Parliament in OLKALOU, the setting up of polling stations and the tallying centers where the electors will cast their votes and be counted. We have also completed the servicing and testing and configuration of our technology. As you know,
displacement and loss of life, as this nation has painfully experienced before. This is not normal politics.